here today. There's a lot of work for us to do as industry persons. The ideas we will be sharing, the partnerships we will be building, the technologies we will be embracing, all will play a critical role in shaping not just the future of real estate, but the future of the continent. And if the technical team could kindly tune off the music for us, please. If we could tune out the music. Thank you very much. Just in case the music was interfering with the statistics I was sharing, I'm going to repeat that. Africa's real estate market is projected to surpass $1 trillion by 2030. That leaves us just about 5 years more. And now this is going to be fueled by rapid urbanization, a booming young population, and I see a lot of young people here today, and unprecedented technological adoption. And that speaks to our theme for this year. Now, the ideas we will share here today and the partnerships we will be building, the technologies we will be introduced to in the next few days will play a critical role in shaping not just the future and, of course, the hopes of real estate, but, of course, the future of the African continent, which is very, very important. Now, over the next few days, we'll hear from global trailblazers, policymakers. We'll also be hearing from tech disruptors. I love to hear a lot of their interesting ideas. And, of course, rising stars, all working to redefine how we build, invest, live, and thrive. So whether you are here as a seasoned investor, a prop tech pioneer, a curious student of change, this is your stage and this is your moment. Let's build Africa's real estate future one insight at a time. And if you are excited, just as I am equally excited to be here this morning, please, we all deserve a warm round of applause for being here, for taking time out of your very busy schedules for us to meet and discuss the growth of our industry. Ladies and gentlemen, to officially and, of course, to welcome us to this beautiful gathering, we are more than honored to receive our welcome address from the towering figure who has convened all of us to this gathering. We are honored to welcome into the podium everyone's Lady Vicky to give us the welcome address. Please let's welcome her as she shares with us the welcome address. And she is the CEO of GREPA.
Government officials, prop tech innovators, real estate professionals, sponsors, partners, and friends from across Africa and around the world. My name is Vicky Sampa, and I have the honor and privilege to welcome you to the Africa Real Estate Conference and Expo 2025 right here in Accra, Ghana. It is with great pride and deep excitement that we open the doors to this year's conference. Over the next 2 days, we are not just attending another event, we are writing a new chapter for Africa's real estate future. Our theme this year is PropTech and digital transformation in Africa's built environment, unlocking Africa's potential for sustainable growth. This is not just a tagline, it's a call to action. Our theme will shift from manual records to smart contracts, from fragmented data to integrated platforms, from isolated projects to interconnected digital ecosystems. And that's why we are here. ARC has always been about bringing public and private sectors together to connect, collaborate, and create. This year, more than ever, we're bringing the world of real estate, technology, and policy to drive solutions for land governance, affordable housing, digital transactions, property finance, and urban infrastructure. In this room and on our virtual platforms, we have visionary tech founders leading Africa's PropTech revolution, real estate developers and investors shaping the skylines of our cities, government and regulatory leaders crafting the framework and digital governance, and of course, the partners and sponsors who made this event possible. Let me take a moment to thank our local and international partners, including the National Association of Realtors, Universal Consulting Opportunities, AEAN from Nigeria, the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, and the American Chamber of Commerce, the ministries, and many collaborators from across Africa, Europe, Asia, and North America. As you engage in sessions, panels, and exhibitions, and networking moments, remember, ARC is your platform. This is where bold ideas meet practical action. This is where we shape the next generation of property technology. This is where Africa's digital real estate movement finds its home. So I say to you all, Akwaba, welcome to ARC 2025. Come near or far, for the next few days, we want you to feel at home. So to you all, I once again say thank you and welcome. Let's make the 2 days truly unforgettable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lady Vicky, and thank you for letting us know that you are here for the long haul. Thank you for letting us know that you're well invested in the built environment. Thank you for letting us know that you are willing and ever ready to collaborate with industry partners in driving the agenda for the built environment. Thank you for this vision. Please, let's acknowledge her once again. Ladies and gentlemen, I love gatherings such as these because it brings policymakers together. Because imagine not having policymakers here. What is the use of what we are doing here? Because it's policy that drives the change that we are all looking forward to. So I'm always excited to have government officials, grace the occasions such as this. Ladies and gentlemen, we are more than honored to be joined by a towering figure, not only in governance, but in the industry. Why do I say so? Our keynote speaker and our special guest of honor is an architect by profession. So which better person to give this address? She is well versed in the industry and knows the ins and outs of the industry. And so we are more than honored to be welcoming our keynote speaker for the Arce Conference 2025 in the person of Honorable Gisela Tete Agotui. She doubles as the Member of Parliament for Ewutu Senya West. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's welcome her as she gives us the keynote address.
Good morning, Africa. It's a pleasure to be here and to give the keynote address on behalf of my Honorable Minister for Works and Housing, Water Resources, Honorable Kenneth Gilbert Ejay, who unfortunately had a clash with another program, so he asked me to step in. So I'm reading this on his behalf, and I'll pass a comment or two, since I'm from the industry, birthed from the industry. So, Your Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, fellow ministers, fellow members of parliament, industry leaders and innovators, esteemed developers, investors and professionals, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, a good morning to you all again. It is with great humility and a deep sense of responsibility that I stand before you today at this year's Africa Real Estate Conference and Expo, ARC 2025, here in the vibrant city of Accra. I want to begin by expressing my sincere appreciation to the organizers for the kind invitation and for establishing this important platform, one that brings together the minds and mechanisms that will shape the future of Africa's built environment. Our continent is evolving rapidly. Urban populations are growing at an unprecedented rate, driving demand for decent and affordable housing, and the pressure on infrastructure is intensifying. Amidst these challenges, we are uniquely positioned with tremendous assets, one of the youngest populations globally, an increasingly tech-savvy workforce, and abundant natural resources. This is a defining moment for us. And the question before us is not only whether we can rise to meet these challenges, but also how we will do so innovatively, sustainably, and inclusively. And that's where PropTech comes in. Let me now delve into a few topics that are dear to my heart. The urgency of affordable housing. Today, millions of Africans continue to live without access to adequate housing. In Ghana, the housing deficit remains a critical challenge which must be addressed, not just with bricks and mortar, but with bold thinking, modern technologies, and collective commitment to lasting solutions. It is important to note that affordable housing must not be mistaken for low-quality housing. It must be dignified, durable, and responsive to the everyday needs of our people. Our citizens deserve homes they can afford and in communities where they can truly thrive. Innovation, the engine of housing transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of my address today is innovative approaches to affordable housing, leveraging technology and collaboration. And this complements the theme for the conference. To truly transform the housing landscape, we must embrace innovation across the housing value chain, from design and financing to construction and maintenance and facilities management. Smart design and planning. Smart technologies now allows us to design homes that are energy efficient, climate resilient, and space optimized. With tools like building information modeling, BIM, urban planning can become more predictive and efficient. And in terms of construction technology, we must accelerate the adoption of cost-effective and sustainable construction methods, such as compressed earth blocks, prefabricated components, and 3D printed structures. These technologies not only lower construction costs and time, but also minimize material waste while enhancing quality and consistency across housing developments. We also have digital platforms for access, where the future of housing access lies in digital innovation. Let us explore digital marketplaces for housing finance, lease-to-own models, and blockchain-backed land registration systems. Through fintech partnerships, we can reduce barriers to access and empower our citizens, especially young people and informal workers, to own homes. As this collaboration, which is the heart of scalable housing solutions, technology alone is not enough. Collaboration must be the heartbeat of our efforts. Public-private partnerships addressing the housing crisis requires a collaborative approach. We must foster partnership with developers, financial institutions, tech firms, and community-based organizations. Through well-structured PPP arrangements, we can unlock land, provide incentives, and implement risk-mitigating strategies to attract and sustain private sector investments. A bit of that has been happening here in Accra already. Through regional and continental cooperation, let us break down the silos. Countries across Africa must share lessons, pool resources, harmonize regulations where possible to attract cross-border investment and innovation in housing. Through community engagements, the people we serve and the people we build for, and the market that we also that we wish to serve must be involved in shaping the housing solutions we provide. Strategic and participatory development ensures that homes are culturally appropriate, locally accepted, and socially inclusive. Our commitment in Ghana is that we are working tirelessly to integrate these principles into our national housing strategy. Through our affordable housing program, we are identifying new financing models, supporting indigenous construction technologies, and encouraging investor confidence through transparent policy frameworks. As Minister for Works, Housing and Water Resources, I'm fully committed to building an ecosystem that rewards innovation, encourages ethical business, and ensures that no Ghanaian is left behind in a housing agenda. To this effect, in Ghana, we are about to pursue the district housing scheme, which means that we are decentralizing the housing developments in Ghana. We've realized that we've often concentrated on the urban areas and now need to share it fairly and squarely in all the districts. So in conclusion, colleagues, friends, builders of Africa's future, this is our time. The journey toward affordable housing is not an easy one, but it is possible. With the right mix of technology, trust, and teamwork, we can transform Africa's housing narrative. Let ACT 2025 not just be a meeting of minds, but a movement for action. Let our conversations here spark new ventures, inspire bold policies, and deliver real homes to real people, and nurture the ecosystems that we seek to build and to collaborate with. Together, let us build not just structures, but solutions, not just shelters, but sustainable futures through technology. Thank you, and may God bless our efforts and our continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable, for those inspiring words and letting us know that indeed there is hope for the industry and we are just about starting in this industry. Thank you for outlining some of the great ideas that have been highlighted by this government, and we are looking forward to seeing them actualized, and then we'll all be here once again to celebrate the successes chalked in this industry. Please let's acknowledge her once again. Thank you so much. She was definitely a good choice for this, an architect, and she understands the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be hearing another speech and words from a very special guest as well. We are more than honored to invite onto the podium the Global Ambassador for the National Association of Realtors in the person of Mr. Frank Oti, who will share a few words with us. If he's here, please let's give him a warm applause as he joins us and delivers his speech.
Good morning. I'm happy to be back the second year in a row to support GREPA. GREPA is a bilateral partner to National Association of Realtors. And we are excited to be part of GREPA and part of African Real Estate Conference and Expo. National Association of Realtors, for your information, is a trade organization headquartered in Chicago, Illinois. That's where Vicky operates from. And we have a very good relationship with Lady Vicky. The more I get to know her, the more I'm excited for what she's doing for Ghana real estate. Please put your hands together for Vicky. Nobody really advised me that I was going to be speaking here today, but being a global ambassador, I guess I have to be ready at any point in time because I might be called upon. So let me share the vision of National Association of Realtors. National Association of Realtors is made up of close to 1.5 million members. And we pride ourselves in being one of the best trade organizations around the world. National Association of Realtors Global, the vision is to be a leading global real estate association, fostering international collaboration and promoting the highest standards of professionalism and ethics in real estate. In order to do this, we empower our Realtor members, whether they are international Realtor members or regular Realtors, by providing resources, education, and guidance to enhance their global business opportunities and support the global real estate market. That's why we're here, because we're talking about global real estate market. Anytime you're doing cross-border transactions or international real estate, you're in global real estate space. National Association of Realtors is also forefront of PropTech and FinTech through our second-generation venture company called Reach. If you don't know that, that's one of the biggest PropTech, FinTech company around the world. And we go around the world looking at startups that are interested or doing things around the PropTech and FinTech space. So National Association of Realtors is big. We are in over 80 countries around the world. We have bilateral partnership with over 108 organizations around the world. I am the global ambassador to Africa. We have bilateral partnership in Africa, 5 of them. GREPA is one. Number 2 is AEAN, which also has an MOU with GREPA. We're also in South Africa with Ribosa, Real Estate Business Owners of South Africa, and also IESA, Institute of Estate Agents of South Africa, and of course in Uganda, our newest bilateral partners, Area Association of Real Estate Agents of Uganda. I'm going to end it here by saying, please stay tuned to PropTech and FinTech, whether it's through ACE or whether it's through NAR, is the future. Let's go get them. Thank you so much.
Another round of applause for Mr. Frank Oti, a global ambassador for the National Association of Realtors, sharing with us the great partnership we have here with GREPA. And we're excited to hear and see partners come from across the world. I saw a friend I met somewhere last year in Zambia, all the way. He's also in the audience. So it's a great gathering. And so we would encourage you to network as well. It's not just about listening to what is being shared, but please grab the opportunity to network and make new contacts and connect. Now, let's get into some more talks, but this talk is going to be equally informative and educational. We are going to turn our attention to some foundational elements that have shaped the future of real estate in Ghana. Policy implementation. That's a big conversation there. Now, one of the most significant steps towards professionalism and structure in our industry has been the passing of the Real Estate Agency Act 2020, Act 1047. Now, to help us better understand where we are and what lies ahead in the implementation of this law. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's make welcome Mr. Emmanuel Jeffrey, the CEO of the Real Estate Agency Council, as he shares with us the way forward in the implementation of this law. Thank you and welcome, sir.
So good morning, everybody here. Honorable ministers, distinguished guests, industry leaders, partners, and all stakeholders present. It is an honor and a privilege to stand before you this morning at the African Real Estate Conference and Expo under the inspiring theme, Implementing the Real Estate Agency Act 2020, Act 1047, Building a Transparent and a Regulated Property Market. I would like to thank the organizers for this timely initiative and for extending an invitation to the Real Estate Agency Council to contribute to this important dialogue. It is heartening to see a growing interest among industry players in a sector as critical as real estate. This morning, I have the pleasure of addressing you on the subject, Implementing the Real Estate Agency Act 2020, Act 1047, Building a Transparent and a Regulated Property Market. This is a subject of national importance and one that reflects our collective aspiration for a transparent, accountable, and professional real estate industry in Ghana. The Real Estate Agency Council was established by an Act of Parliament, the Real Estate Agency Act 2020, Act 1047. The passage of this act marked a significant milestone in the history of real estate practice in Ghana. For decades, the industry operated without any centralized regulatory framework, leading to proliferation of unlicensed operators, fraudulent activities, and a general lack of professionalism sector. As the statutory regulatory body, REAC is mandated to license, register, and supervise the activities of real estate brokers and agents in Ghana. We are also responsible for ensuring compliance with ethical and professional standards, conducting monitoring and inspection activities, and protecting the interests of consumers and industry stakeholders alike. Our primary goal is to formalize and streamline real estate agency practice in Ghana. To this end, the Council is implementing a number of strategic interventions, including the development of a real estate database of all real estate developers, brokers, and agents, a comprehensive licensing regime, the establishment of inspection protocols, public education, campaigns, and the strengthening of our monitoring enforcement mechanisms, and also generate revenue for the government. A central component of our regulatory strategy has been the integration of new technologies to ensure efficiency and accessibility and real-time database. REAC is currently developing a comprehensive digital licensing and registration platform to streamline licensing applications, renewal, and verification processes. Once operational, this system will empower clients, investors, and institutions to independently verify the credentials and regulatory standards of real estate professionals. This effort is being reinforced by a centralized compliance database which will support risk-based supervision and data-driven policy making. To ensure the integrity of this transition, the Council has initiated partnerships with FIC, the National Identification Authority, the Registrar of Companies, and other relevant institutions to assess accurate, variable data. Our long-term vision is to build a real-time database of licensed agents, brokers, and firms, one that supports both enforcement and consumer protection. While a nationwide consultation exercise is forthcoming, REAC is engaging a range of stakeholders, groups, including real estate practitioners, associations, and government institutions to inform its regulatory instruments. These engagements have proven invariably in aligning our frameworks with sector realities and expectations. With the recent inauguration of the REAC Governing Board on the 16th June 2025, the Council is now poised to implement its licensing and educational programs. These will allow the Council to implement its functions and also generate revenue for the government. Aspiring practitioners who do not yet meet the statutory experience requirements will have the opportunity to pursue formal training and examinations in preparing for license. Distinguished guests, it is a national opportunity to restore trust, encourage investor confidence, and position Ghana as a leader in the real estate governance. But success requires more than institutional will. It demands collective effort. We call on all stakeholders, government entities, industry players, academia, civil society, and Africa peers globally to support this transformative agenda. REAC remains resolute in its commitment in building a transparent, accountable, professionally regulated real estate sector. Together, let us chart a future that is transformational, ethical, and resilient for a better Ghana. Thank you, and I wish ARCE 2025 a continuous success. God bless Ghana. God bless you all. Thank you again.
Thank you very much for getting into the law and letting us know what we need to know and doing it right. It is very, very important. Many thanks, Mr. Emmanuel Jeffrey, CEO of Real Estate Agency Council. Well, the next session is going to be a hybrid one. Why do I say so? It's going to be a combination of us in-house, and our next speaker is a virtual participant. And so I would encourage us to shift our focus to the screen now as we connect to our next speaker, who will be delving into the conversation of the Toro Kingdom's approach to land administration and documentation. And so if our next speaker is ready, Honorable Vincent Agaba, he is the Minister of Lands, Toro Kingdom, all the way in Uganda. So whilst we are prepping him, we are talking technology. Sometimes technology fails, but hey, we'll come back to our feet. We will connect to him pretty shortly as we get into that conversation. But the next conversation we have up next is an interesting one. Before he comes here, I was having a chat with him and, finding out what this whole conversation is about. Multi-listing services. What is it? Well, that's why he's here. He's going to be sharing with us what multi-listing services is all about and how Africa can use this opportunity. When we talk about data, it's vast, but how is the industry using data to push this industry? And all the way from Canada, we are more than excited to welcome the Vice President of Technology, Innovation, and Global Market. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Matthew Kulumandil as he discusses the topic, Revolutionizing Real Estate, the MLS Opportunity in Africa. Please, let's welcome him.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to this great conference, and thank you for giving me your ear for a few minutes. I've set up a presentation to kind of go through some of those pieces of information that I think spark your interest about what multiple listing service is, how it works in the US, and what it could do for Africa and the rest of the world. So if you could start the slides, I would appreciate that. So quick show of hands, how many of you know what MLS, multiple listing service is? Of course, people from the US know, okay. Great. So, here we go. I was already introduced, so I'm going to skip right through this. I have two roles in my organization. I work for a company called Stellar MLS. We're one of the largest multiple listing services in the United States. And I'll get into details what that means, but we have about 85,000 real estate professionals as part of our customer base that provide information and extract value out of this organization. My second role is as the Vice President of Global Markets for our subsidiary, and it's called Universal Consulting Opportunities. A little bit about myself, and I'll tell you why that's important a little bit. I have my roots in India. I grew up in Austria, in Europe. I was blessed to travel the world in different ways. So I was educated in the UK, worked in Japan. I live in Canada now for a US company. And this is important because as we're exploring technology around the world, one thing is always, the message is always clear. The culture is so important. And I've been very fortunate to kind of explore and experience different cultures and being able to adapt to certain local differences. And you'll see how the system that I'm going to show you is something that's out of the US, but my message to you is take what's good from there and adapt it to your market. The mission for Universal Consulting Opportunities, the subsidiary, is, as you can read here, is to empower real estate organizations worldwide and to create these trusted marketplaces. When I say trusted, yesterday I was looking for Ghana real estate, and I just looked online. And I got to, I think it was the number 2 website there, I can't remember the name, it was Ghana Properties or Properties maybe. And I was just browsing through the properties. And I've immediately come across something that I've seen in many different countries now, but not in the US or in Canada. And that is, I found a building in an area, and there are 11 listings for that building, but there's only 6 apartments. So the question is, of course, as a consumer who is looking for a property, what do I do next? I don't know. Are these real properties? Real advertisements? Are they even for sale at this moment, or is it outdated information? So that's a very big problem as far as I see it, and the MLS is a part of that solution. And very quickly, we've got engagements in different parts of the world, have a great team that can help with this kind of initiative outside North America. And a little bit about Stellar MLS. It's a very big organization in terms of how many people are in this network, how many real estate professionals. And we do a lot of work to ensure that the trust is maintained, the trust in the profession and the trust in the information that's in there. Because the moment one person in this network starts not playing by the rules, it will impact everybody else as well. One bad actor will impact the entire profession. So if you can see here, we have a lot of training going on, we send a lot of emails every year, but where I want to point out is we send over 300,000, or like almost 300,000 compliance notices. And compliance notices means, hey, you've provided us some data, but it's not correct, or you need to update it. I'll give you an example. One of our rules is, if you as a real estate professional put up your listing in our database and it sells, within 2 days you have to report it. If you don't, you'll get a fine very quickly. Because what happens is somebody else looks at your listing, it's still up for sale, but it's already sold. That affects that person's profession, the trust that the client is giving them to give them right information. So it's very important to us that the integrity is upheld. Okay, let's get into it. I think it's a manual. Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay. As we've been talking to different countries, they see the MLS system that we show them, or one of the MLS systems, and the immediate thought is, yes, we want this software in our market. This will change how we do business. And I want to highlight one piece here, which is the software is almost the easiest piece in this. It's everything else that makes the software work, that upholds the integrity of the data of the profession, and that's really the difficult part. And that's where the government, licensing bodies, associations come in very strongly to help foster that. Our talked about all the little things that, not little things, but big things that surround this concept of MLS. And so when you think about implementing this or establishing this, there's a lot of different topics that need to be covered as part of that. So how does it work? This is the very basics of it. A seller has a house to sell, and this is the US version. This is almost every transaction in the US, it almost works exactly like this. I have a house to sell, I talk to a real estate agent, the real estate agent offers to put it marketed for me. That real estate agent puts it up in their respective MLS, and the MLS distributes that listing to all the big portals, to all the different websites out there. So immediate exposure, very convenient as well, and very transparent. As part of this, the MLS checks, is there a duplicate there? Is it a fake one? There's all kinds of checks and balances in place. On the other side, somebody who is looking for a home may or may not engage a buyer's agent, and the buyer's agent looks into the database and hopefully finds the right solution. So it's a matchmaking service in its basic form. And there's a lot that comes out of that value. That network, the bigger it is, the stronger the profession is there, the more value comes out of it. So I'm going to show you a video. It's my colleague going through our system in Florida. It's just one system out there. There's many different ones that can be opted for. It has a lot of functionality that is not needed at this moment in any country that is starting with it. But it'll give you a glimpse of the kind of potential out there that could happen. So next slide, and hopefully the audio is good there. So this is how a real estate agent starts their day. They come to this dashboard. And before you press play, just want to, it's very busy, but don't worry, there's so many things in there that they can look and search for, really empowering the profession, And all this information, of course, is then available to the consumers, or most of it anyways, to all the different data consumers. So that could be government, that could be investors, that could be different institutions like banks and insurances. Could you play the video? Yep. And could you add the sound to it?
So at any point in time, a real estate professional who subscribes to Stellar can see a pretty accurate real-time snapshot of what's on the market. So under this Market Watch area on the homepage of Matrix, I can set a time frame for a certain type of property of 24 hours, 3 days, 7 days, and then I can see all of the new listings in that time frame, in addition to the status changes, price decreases, properties that sold, properties that expired or went under contract. So that's number one. But this is going to be for the entire MLS system. What if I wanted to hone in on a specific region or a specific type of property? I can customize this Market Watch. Maybe I am only interested in the city of Tampa and condominiums, which are like apartments. Now, I can hone my results into that specific type of property to see the new listings there and the status changes there. Now, let's take a look at how to enter a listing into the system. So under the Matrix Listing Manager, you have not only your existing listings, but at any point in time, you can add a new listing. I can choose the type, in this case residential. Matrix gives the ability to either copy a former listing or to fill from public records if available in your region. But in this case, we're going to just start with a blank listing. So some other benefits of the MLS include the data standardization and data integrity. So here, MLS...
Just a quick pause here. It might feel a little fast, but what my colleague here is doing is he's taking you through the experience of a real estate agent that is about to enter a new listing. And I just want to quickly explain what's going on here. This is a brand new listing. There's no previous information filled in, but bear in mind in North America we have already a lot of information. Especially if you think about it, when a property has been listed once already, there's a lot of information that doesn't really change, like the outside of it or what type of home or architecture it is. So you can take all that information and continue to list it again in the next time. On the left-hand side, you see all the different categories of information. So these are a lot of different ones in there that somebody could put in. Seems like a lot of effort, and yes, it is. But if you look at the benefits of this, on the other side, there's somebody searching for a home, and the more ability they have to search for exactly what they're looking for, the better it is to find the right buyer and to find the seller and sell the property. You see the little red indicators here. We require 67 fields of information in our system. We require 67 pieces of information as a must. You cannot list without putting that information about the listing in there. Again, a lot of effort, and I'll talk about how AI will change that, but that's kind of a given here. If you go to a property webpage today in Ghana, there's very little piece of information, important pieces like how many bedrooms, right, how many bathrooms there are, but it's inconsistent. This is extremely consistent. If you could continue, thank you.
Businesses have a lot of leeway, a lot of discretion in determining the type of data they want to collect, the the types of data they want to require, and what the rules are in terms of how certain things are disclosed. So Stellar MLS has indicated that 67 fields, 67 pieces of information are required when you enter a listing. And the matrix system makes very clear which fields are required. You can see it by tab, or you can see it by individual field. So let's look at the different types of fields. Stellar MLS, along with most multiple listing services in North America, belong to the Real Estate Standards Organization, which sets data standards to say things like the number of bedrooms should always be reported as a numeric field, as a number, where other fields should be multi-select or single-select fields. So in this case, bedrooms can only be entered as a number. Same thing with bathrooms, to ensure data integrity. But then we have some fields, for example, pool, which is a yes-no field. Now notice that if I select yes, this system is set up to conditionally require pool features to be completed. Each MLS can set these conditional requirements. This is a multi-select field where I can select multiple options. There are other fields that are single select. So for example, property style. I can only select one. It could be a condominium, our word for apartments. It could be a single family detached home. But I have to select one. I'm locked into one selection. Additionally, there are open text fields. There's a field called public remarks. This is open text that not only is seen in the MLS, but also goes out the portals and public sites. And a private realtor remarks field, which is for agent-to-agent communication. And another important section is the listing distribution section of a listing. So in the United States, the MLS is the main source of data, and from the MLS, listings get distributed to several public-facing internet sites. But the listing agent has the ability to determine where to send the listing from here. They can opt in or out of internet distribution, but if they opt in, there's other questions they have to answer, such as if they want the address displayed on the internet, and to which public-facing sites do they want to send the listing. So not only is this a single point of entry where the data from this listing goes out to all these sources, but also a single point of edit. Should a change be made to this listing, it automatically gets sent out to the various sources. Let's now take a look at the search side. So under the search and matrix, I have my search form, and notice the three panels. I have my fields, my map, and then my results.
Thank you. So we're switching over now to an agent who's looking for properties for their buyer. So that's a different journey. They go and search for that. I hope the previous section was clear. You can see there's lots of information that they can put in, which helps sell the property ultimately. He also briefly showed the option to share the information on the internet. So internet yes, no, as we call it. There's very few cases why that would happen. Some of these cases have to do, for example, with, okay, this person is part of a domestic violence situation, or it's a celebrity, and they don't want to share that out in the world, but they want to still sell the property within a community of professionals that make sure it's confidential. But usually, everybody wants to market it as much as possible, of course. Okay, if you could continue, that'd be great. Excuse me? Yes.
So I want to start, let's just say I'm looking for homes that are between 3 and 4 bedrooms and 2 and 3 bathrooms. Active, currently on the market. Property style, I want a detached single-family home. Now notice here as well, if I say the type of property I'm looking for, oh, well, I only am interested in residential, not commercial property, that will limit my options of property styles to only the residential styles. So this is a responsive search form. single family, in the state of Florida, in the city of Tampa. And we even have a city dictionary to allow for validation of search. And there are currently several properties that meet my criteria. Maybe I also need to add in a price range. I am looking to stay under 400,000 US dollars. So that now drops me down from over 1,000 matches, for several thousand matches to about 1,000 matches. Well, I want to hone in a little more. Now I want to hone in to a highly specific geographic area. So I can say, instead of just doing the city of Tampa, I can look for a specific neighborhood within Tampa. I can also type in what we have in the United States are called zip codes. They're postal codes, which are smaller regions. 33610. Now I'm down to only 74 matches. I can even come onto this map and I can draw on the map to hone in on a highly specific region. So to do that, I will click my more drawing options. I can draw a radius from a specific point of interest, a rectangle, or a freehand shape such as a polygon. So I'm going to draw a polygon, and now I can define a highly specific area. And now I am limiting my search to only listings within the boundaries of the shape that I drew. Once I have my results, I can see my results as a whole. I can save the search. And then have the search available for me to run from my home page in Matrix in the future. I can also send out these results. I can select these listings. I can send these as an email, just a one-time email with the properties I selected. I can do an auto email, meaning that I send out these initial results, but then if there is ever new listings that pop up in the future that meet this criteria, it will automatically get sent to my buyer, my recipient. I can also get a share link, where I am able to create a link that I can send out through WhatsApp or any social media platform, text messaging, however I want to send it. The last thing I want to share is the agent directory in Matrix, because another benefit of the MLS is being that network of professionals. So if I go to my search tab in Matrix, in addition to having all the property searches, I can do an agent search or even an office search. I can look for agents or real estate professionals or real estate offices in a given area. I can find that person's record and contact information. Or I can search for agents within a specific city. Maybe I want to find agents who work in Safety Harbor, Florida. There's 84 of them. And now I can look for agents in that geographic area. But once again, there's a huge benefit here that MLS is a network of professionals looking to cooperate, looking to work together to bring buyers to each other's listings and listings to each other's buyers. Those are just a few of the top benefits of the Matrix system, but barely scratches the surface. This is quite a powerful system that gives MLSs a lot of local customization options.
Okay, if you could move to the next slide. So what you saw is something called Matrix system. That's what we use, but really I want to highlight that it doesn't really matter what kind of system it is. There's many different ones out there. This is one of them that's maybe more common. Something that he hasn't shown is, because people always ask me about, can you show me the details of what deals do we see on a property? So I put some screenshots of one property. So, and I will go very quickly through them. But basically, you can see all kinds of information. By the way, pool, yes, no, is obviously a very Florida thing. It's very important to know in Florida if the house has a pool or not. So that's a must-have in our system there. Next slide. Does the clicker work? Can you move to the next slide? Yes. So here's some more information about the schools that the house is being served with, garage, interior features, what terms it is. In this case, the 6 months lease period. A lot of information that's available through public domain, so which means through the city or through the municipality itself, as they record this information, like about the title. And next slide. And next slide, please. Here, you can see details about individual rooms and their sizes and what kind of flooring they have. And again, it might seem like a lot, but again, in many cases, that's part of the realtor's job really to get all these details, because I'm going to a house and I know it's full of carpet, at least in Florida. I'm pretty sure I need that information to know how much I'm going to have to spend to replace the carpet or to replace it with some hardwood flooring. So this is all very valuable information when it comes to pricing the home and to negotiate between a buyer and the seller. And next slide, yep, thank you. Here's some exterior features. And again, a lot of them don't change either. So you can reuse information from previous listings and from property data that has been captured previously already. And next slide. Information about the community. So you can see there is some common community features like a fitness center, there's a community pool, there's a homeowners association, and the fee is $639 monthly, and it's required. So all of this information obviously ties into your decision making, and the whole realtor information, of course, as well. And so, coming back to this, that's the kind of the basic part of it. But what is really, how is this useful to you? Or how is it useful to society and the citizens of any country? Once this data is gathered, remember this is relatively real-time. It is as close as real-time as you can get. You have this massive workforce of real estate professionals that are out there every day buying and helping with that process, right? So they capture all this information. Why wouldn't you tap into this information? At least has been doing is they're sending our appraisers into the process that come from the government, and they make sure that it at least reaches a minimum value that they expect in that area. And anyways, all of this kind of nurtures an ecosystem that goes way beyond just collecting MLS or real estate data. Because once you have this information, oh, can you go back briefly? Once you have this information, now a government can decide, okay, what is our next policy? What do we need to regulate, whether it's the profession or the information? I'll give you an example. I worked in a similar role in Canada as well. That's where I started in real estate. And we talked to the municipality. And one of the municipalities, they were saying to us, we have something called a master development plan. And that's a plan about housing for the next 10 to 15 years. They have to decide, do they want to build more condos, or do they want to build more single-family homes with large gardens, or what exactly should they build? And they said their goal is to get young families into the area because they are lacking that kind of crowd to support their municipality. How did they make that decision? And it's surprising because we already had the data when they talked to us, which is surprising, but they made their decisions at the time in talking to developers. And this is not against anything about developers, but developers will have a certain bias or interest in this process. So they just talk to developers say, yep, you need condos, and that's the decision. Instead of being able to draw information about what are young people now buying these days. Turns out in our area, they don't want a big garden anymore. These are young people who like convenience and more than maintaining a yard, for example. They prefer condos and apartments and small properties that are easy to maintain. So that's the kind of information that feeds into a cycle of satisfaction across society, right? You get good policies and good regulation that fast-track investment, fast-track execution of the transaction that makes society happier and builds trust in the government, but also in the whole process. And that's the key here. Aside from those kind of very big high-level benefits, of course, there's a whole ecosystem of property technology that goes around this. A lot of the property technology that's out there, it's relying on data and information to accurately create a new tool for yourself. So here's a few things. I want to highlight showing software, and this, I don't know how familiar you are, but in the US, the way it works is once a listing is available, let's say my house is active on the market, a buyer's agent, and let's assume I'm not in the house anymore, it's vacant. A buyer's agent is able to go on their phone and they can reserve an appointment without anybody being there, just them and their own client. Because the listing agent, my listing agent, has put a big lockbox on the door with the key inside it, and that lockbox can only be opened by another agent in this network. So it's a safe environment where you can trust somebody else to show the house, and you don't have to even be there. And you get a report back saying this person has entered the house, has come in that time, give us feedback about what you think, is the client interested. A very, very efficient way to buy and sell homes, of course. So it fuels a whole set of innovation. Next slide, please. A lot to read on here, but we did a little bit of research of how government uses this information in the US, and I kind of highlighted in bold italics what the equivalent in Ghana would be, right? All of these institutions, when you get there, not if, when you get there, will benefit in different ways on this information. Whether that is the Ministry of Works and Housing, of course, or even the statistical services, or even environmental protection agencies. All can benefit, and in the US currently use this information to do their part in government. Okay, there's no presentation where there's a little bit of AI, but I'll be very, very quick. Artificial intelligence solves a big problem and also poses a big problem at the same time. There's two key things for artificial intelligence. One is it needs data, a lot of data. And number two is it needs to ensure that the data is as good as it can possibly be. As you know, bad data, garbage out. So that's the problem that AI will pose, right? And if you don't have the information and it's not accurate, you'll struggle with getting this kind of innovation into your ecosystem. But thankfully, Thankfully, it also solves a problem because we talk to different markets, and right now a real estate agent, for example, they put in minimal information, bedrooms, bathrooms, kind of a bit about the location. Now we're suddenly asking them, imagine an MLS is introduced, we're asking them, okay, can you put like 60 different fields in there and room dimensions and all this stuff, and you can imagine how you feel about that. The good news is AI can actually address a lot of these things. So today's agent in the US can just go into a property, they turn on their app, and there's many right now. They go through the rooms. They may even say what they're seeing. It captures that. It takes a floor plan as you go along. It captures the floor plan. It detects what objects are in there. It detects what kind of floor is in there. It detects if it's a granite countertop or something else. And all of this information, instead of them now having to put it in a form, is just automatically put into the system. So it facilitates that transition. So it's a good opportunity now actually to jump in this, because we have the technology to facilitate and make this whole process a lot easier. So it's a problem and a solution in many ways at the same time. And kind of my last message to you all is, of course, we know of how to get this. So I'll give you an example. Obviously, working with the government is always a big benefit, where policies can drive that. Another partnership that we've seen is a very large bank working with the MLS, because the bank is, in this case, this bank in Europe, they obviously want to sell financial services to their clients, like mortgages. So a typical buyer would come and say, okay, I need to first find out how much I can afford. So they go to the bank first. Now the bank can tell them, hey, we can help you with the home search. We have the MLS system as well that we work with. And why don't you continue, and we will provide you a broker for free. And then you have create an entirely different partnership and ecosystem just in its own right. So very innovative things that we've seen around the world. It doesn't have to be, it probably shouldn't be like the US model, and should be very much adjusted to your market and the conditions here. And I know this was a longer than usual speech here, but I hope this was interesting to most of you. And I think with that, I'm concluding this session here. Go to the last slide. I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. Yep, that's it. Thank you so much.
Please let's acknowledge him once again. That was rich in content, I must say, and I could see our minister nodding, and I know that she's opened to this type of technology and opening the gates of Ghana to receiving this. And I'm sure this is why we have met here today, to change things in the industry and to welcome innovative ideas. And I'm sure at this point we feel like we just completed a short course in MLS, right? Because it's been very in-depth and very rich and information. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, please allow me to acknowledge some important personalities who have equally joined us here this morning. This morning, we are blessed to receive the Vice Chairman of the Committee on Land and Natural Resources, Honorable Sanja Nanja. If he is here, please let's acknowledge him. Thank you so much, Honorable, for joining us. We also have in our midst the member of the Committee of Lands and Natural Resources in the person of Honorable David Von D. If Honorable is here, thank you so much, Honorable. We appreciate your time. Also, a member of the Lands and Natural Resources here this morning, and it speaks volumes. We appreciate your participation. We also have Honorable Emilia Ankoma. She's a member of the Committee of Works and Housing. Is she here? Honorable Emilia, thank you. I'm sure she was here early on. Thank you for coming. Also a member of the Works and Housing Committee is Honorable Mohammed Haruna. Do we have Honorable There you are. Thank you so much. And finally, last but certainly not the least, we have Honorable Adams Supraru, who is a member of the committee. Is he also here? All right, he was with us earlier. Please let's be reminded that the team will be projecting a QR code where we are encouraged to scan and share our experiences, some of the interesting things we have picked up so far. It's going to be a very long day, but worth it. Long, but worth it, because there's a lot of conversations to have. There's a lot of things to unpack. Now, talking about unpacking, I'm sure you have a lot of questions about this whole multiple listing services, what it is about, how you and I can benefit from it. Well, we have our very own Lady Vicky who is going to be engaged in a fireside chat. Just imagine there's fire there, okay? There's no fire, but just imagine it. But you're going to have a fireside chat to unpack this whole MLS B2B marketplace. So please, let's spare them some time, just about 5-10 minutes to, get into it, and then we move to other aspects of it. Lady Vicky, it's your show now.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Matthew, for this wonderful presentation. I think Ghana really needs a system to organize data, and I can imagine how the Honorable Minister and our authority, I know he likes to be called that, the authority, right? So I can imagine how they feel about what Dr. Matthew presented. This is just a little presentation he made, but this system is very, very a complex system, and it's a very good an integration of data that can really help every real estate market. There are things that we didn't look at. He mentioned it briefly, things like market trends, which can be used for investment purposes and also for valuation purposes. Also, if we can see property markets in, let's say, a period of 10 years, we can see all the history of property data and also the transactions that we've had. So, for instance, if somebody sold a property 10 years ago in Ghana and another person wants to go and buy that same property, the person definitely wants to know how that property has done over the years. If it's been sold several times, they really want to know that.
That's right. So it captures all the history of the listing and the property. So you can, honestly, you can go to any portal now in the US and you'll see, okay, 2 years ago the person sold it for this amount. And you kind of look at, you can even in some cases look at the pictures from there and see what changes they've made. So there's really, it's very transparent. For some people it might be even too transparent, I think, yes. Right there, because there's not a lot of arbitration going on. Exactly. It's just about what is the actual market value. Right. And we have to distinguish between commercial and residential real estate quite a lot, because commercial is more, I want to say, more objective. Mm-hmm. It's more about the money involved. There's not a lot of personal feelings around it, right? But in residential real estate, of course, the market value might be something, but if somebody really likes it, of course, right, then you might find it's also higher.
Dr. Matthew, so talking about residential, there's a lot of residential apartments in Accra right now. Mm-hmm. The city is growing, and so there's a lot of demand for apartments. Mm-hmm. How would this help real estate developments? I think we have a good number of real estate developers here. How would this system help real estate developers?
So something we don't, for example, capture is a lot of buyer information. Mm-hmm. But I say we should capture buyer information if somebody wants to start this. And how would this help, for example? Now, I can imagine a developer, let's say you have a high-rise building that you've previously sold. If you have the information about what kind of buyers are coming and buying, maybe they're coming from another city, maybe they're coming from another country in Africa or elsewhere. Now, as a developer, I can focus my marketing dollars to maybe a certain region, right? I have information that gives me that value to say, okay, I know that. Or even what kind of demographic, right? Oh, it's young families, or there are established business people, whatever that might be, that gives you a bit more of an edge to spend your money the right way, I guess.
Great. Yeah. So for the developers, this is a great marketing system for you. Let's talk about syndications. Mm-hmm. Do you, in Africa, there's a lot of diaspora and community buying in the country. We have a lot of foreign investments going on. What do you think that an MLS would help in help foreign buyers?
Good question. So, and I think Bill might be talking about this as well, I'm sure. It's about risk, as he said, right? And the transparency about the level of risk is the key here. It's not so much about the risk itself, because you can account for that, as Bill mentioned yesterday. It's, right? I don't know what I'm going to deal with versus I know what I'm going to deal with, and this is what I'm going to invest or offer for this kind of property, right? I think that's the key piece that's a differentiator for this.
So I just wanted you to speak a little bit on syndications, global syndications, yes.
So syndication, in our case, it goes literally everywhere. So not only it's extreme exposure.
Right.
One benefit, and I always think back at kind of, okay, many markets have a situation where it's not an exclusive listing. And you wonder why not? If I sell my house and I'm not 100% sure that you, Vicky, my realtor, can market it properly everywhere, okay, then I need like a few more people to help me out here, right?
It happens in Ghana.
It's natural, right? Yeah. But if you can tell me, no, I will put it on the MLS, and the MLS will get it everywhere you need to be, and on top of that, I will do something else, then I'm like, okay, I can go to anybody, and then it's about a different way to differentiate your service. It's not about gatekeeping,
Right, yes.
right? Or me as a seller wanting to figure out how I can market it the best way. It's your job to figure out how to market the best way, right? So syndication is really key in this whole process. It's a convenience factor, but also the reason why I think sellers go with realtors in the first place.
Right.
I looked at a map around the world. There's a study on problem with that per se, but I think there's a lot of opportunity missed to create a more efficient transaction for both the seller and the buyer. We've seen in the US, I mean, there's I think about between 5 to 10% in our market is just for sale by owners, and a lot of them try it first, and then they usually come to a realtor anyways.
The realtor is the most important person in the transaction.
Yes.
Well, thanks to the National Association of Realtors, partnership with the Ghana Real Estate Professionals Association, we do have access to syndicate our properties to realtor.com. So we have our properties showing everywhere in the world, about 10 different countries through the realtor.com syndication, and that's the partnership that we have with the National Association of Realtors.
And I think that should not be underestimated as a benefit. We work with India as an example, and in India you can only buy property if you're what's called a non-resident Indian or an Indian inside, right? So I could probably buy one, but otherwise you have to figure out a way to buy property through an Indian person. So for them to be able to advertise to this very usually kind of wealthy population that lives outside India is really key.
Right.
A large amount of money comes back as an investment from exactly those. I know in Ghana there's no restriction like that, so it's even better to kind of get out there, highlight the benefits of the developments here in Ghana.
Great. So lastly, before we dive into the continental listing, I just wanted to find out, or I wanted you to let the audience understand how the government can have some kind of understanding of the market, the trends, and also monitor all the trends. We need to make sure the real estate agents are doing the right thing. They are describing the property as it is and not, sugarcoating words. We are giving the right prices and we're using the right language. So how would the government benefit from a multiple listing service, especially in regulating the industry?
Yeah, so I think it's pivotal, both from a licensing exactly. We have a lot of people working together, and the moment if you don't adhere, if I'm a real estate agent that is, let's say, my risk of doing something wrong, it's like, okay, what's the worst that can happen? I can't do real estate anymore, potential. They won't let me in their association anymore. So what, right? I can still continue privately, right? If there's a strong structure around the professional aspect of this, obviously it benefits the profession itself, but it also benefits society in that aspect, right? You get to so I mentioned it earlier, the trust is built, and as with the right policies that come through back into society, society will trust government more, and government knows that they're doing the right thing back into society, into citizenship. So insurance, etc., that ties into this, I think, ultimately. Really, the sky is unlimited. It's just getting started. And there's one more point I wanted to make that I forgot, sorry.
Sure.
That is, with AI and technology looming around here, I already mentioned data is kind of the fuel for all of this. My advice is, don't worry about the technology for now, just collect data, right? Because at any point in time, then you might have the conference say, okay, I can now plug in ChatGPT or something that uses this information, right? And we can innovate, right? But it's about starting to collect data right away, because every day you're not doing it, you're losing out, right?
That is very true. Every day you're not using it, you're losing out.
Yeah.
Yes, and data changes every second. Yeah, so
For
it's
sure.
very important.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to local to continental. A year ago, we launched the Exchange MLS, and I think I had a lot of conversation with Universal Consultant Opportunity about the Exchange. Exchange is a multi-country, multi-language, and multi-country, multi-language, multi-currency platform.
Great.
So the whole idea is to have MLSs all over Africa, and then we have one big portal that pulls all these MLSs into one. This was an idea after the AFTA initiative, which I feel that the African countries also need a market. African countries are coming together to do trade among themselves. So real estate also needs a table, a seat at the table. And so bringing our market into a single portal was a great idea that I came up with. And so we're still working on the MLS, but I believe that Ghana should lead the multiple listing service, followed by Nigeria, right? Somebody living in South Africa can go into this portal and still look for a property in Ghana. Somebody in Uganda, they don't have to call around. Sometimes it's very difficult. I'll tell you a story. Beth used to be with leading real estate companies of the world. She would call me and say, Vicky, do you know anybody in Kenya? You know, I have a client who is a doctor in the United States. He has a property in Kenya. One of our agents helped him buy his property, and he's looking for somebody back home to sell their property. She can't find anyone in Kenya, you know. So if we have that one portal, that should help us. They can just go in there and look for an agent and also look at properties in that one portal. So I just want you to comment a little bit on how you think the exchange is going to help Ghana and also help Africa.
I mean, it's a no-brainer as far as I see it. One thing I recommend to look out for is in this initiative is how do you measure success, right? And the way we kind of looked at it is that there's a good chance that somebody from Nigeria is not licensed to sell property in Ghana, for example, right?
Right.
So they're looking for referrals. This is not the same as like an MLS in Ghana where the transaction happens between licensed people. This is between different people in different countries. So it's going to be a referral. I'm in Nigeria. I'm going to send this person to you, and we agree on like the benefit, the commission or whatever that is, right? And that comes from it. So this kind of network of MLSs across Africa, in order for you to measure success, measure the referrals, measure the kind of even the commissions that go through, maybe even facilitate that part in a very effective way. So you can say, Nigeria, we've given you this many referrals and this much volume of transactions because of this system, right? So that really helps with that initiative.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Matthew.
Thank you so
And
much for
we
having
do appreciate you flying all the way down to Africa to join us here. We hope to work with you, and thank you so much again.
Thank you so much
Thank
for having
you.
me. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lady Vicky, and of course to Matthew for helping us unpack this conversation. Because of time constraints, we wouldn't have every, question answered. But Matthew is here with us for the next 2 days, and so please feel free to reach out to him, to talk to him, to explore this great, great B2B marketplace a bit further. Now, this is the Africa Real Estate Conference and Expo, and so we'll do a little roll call here. Do we have our Nigerians here? Any? Oh, great. We have our friends from Nigeria. Please, let's acknowledge them. I see the Managing Director for Railway Property Management Company Limited, all the way from Nigeria, Mr. Timothy Zalanga, who is here. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you. Do we have our friends from South Africa here? SA, yes. Welcome. Welcome to Ghana. Good to see you. Do we have our friends from the US here? Of course, it's an African thing, but it's partnership, it's collaboration. And so it's good to have you here. Any people from Canada? Our friends from Canada? Of course, Matthew is from Canada, so we appreciate you. Efie for Muaha. Ghana for Muaha. Let's see our Ghanaians here also. Absolutely. It's great to have you all join us for this year's conference, and we are more than happy to be having these conversations. There's a lot lined up, but we would want to take a very, very important transition. This is important because this is an exhibition as well. We are exhibiting the great product, the great innovative ideas that our partners are showcasing right outside in the foyer. And so at this point, we will take a big group picture with our Honorable Minister. And once we are done with that, we will all kindly take a tour. It's very important. We will take a tour to the various booths that are outside the foyer, and then we will come back here with a panel discussion. So there's still a lot more for us. But first, we'll take our group picture with our Honorable Deputy Minister. We'll take the group picture here. And after that, our Deputy Minister will take us to the exhibition booth to tour the beautiful, innovative ideas that are being showcased outside. And we will be back in the next about 15 minutes with a panel discussion. But just in case you haven't had breakfast yet, there's a setup right behind. Do well to grab a glass and a bite of some of the great healthy delicacies behind. So we'll be back here in the next 15. Please do not run away. We'll be right back. Thank you. So the official photographers, if you could kindly come, we'll take a group picture with our special guest of honor. So please, let's all come. So maybe if we could have our honorable ministers join Lady Vicky first. Members of Parliament first, please. Members of Parliament, our honorable members of Parliament, thank you so much for taking time off your very, very busy schedules and joining us. Committee members, Lands and Natural Resources, Works and Housing, thank you, honorable members. We are grateful. This is a bold statement. Thank you. Thank you for coming. After that, we would have our speakers warm up to join in. All our speakers for this year's conference, please. Thank you. Can we humbly call our speakers? Our speakers will join in. Our speakers will join the Honorable Minister and Lady Vicky. All our speakers, facilitators, panelists. Right, so all participants, please, finally, this is the final group photo. All participants, please, as many of us that can fit in the group picture. Okay, all right. All participants, as many of us can join in the big group picture. So some would kindly have to climb the podium. Finally, our international partners can stay. This is a special request from the organizers. International partners, please do stay and take the pictures. Our international partners. International. Are we ready? Right. Okay. We are done. Yes, exhibition. Okay. Would officially open the exhibition and tour the many innovative, displays we have outside. And so, participants, this is a time to also, join in and be a part of it. It's a long day, but it's worth it, please. It's worth it. When we return in the next discussion, and so Papa Arce, if you are here, please be on standby. You'll be moderating that session. And so in 10 minutes, we will be back. Please visit the
can be there, but don't block heavy. Yes.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if we may come in as we ready up for our first panel discussion for the day. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, if we may humbly resume our seats now, we are moving on straight to other aspects of this morning's conference. If we could humbly resume our seats. Just on the screen is a QR code. You are being encouraged to scan. Don't forget to share your experience. Don't only live it, but share it. And so kindly scan with your smartphone, and let's hear from you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the next session begins now. If we may humbly come in and resume our seats. Technical team, if you could kindly reduce the volume of the music. Ladies and gentlemen, may we humbly resume our seats now for the next session. We have a long day. We have a big lineup. And so we would want to just go straight into our next session. Equally important sessions as well. Be reminded that we have panel discussions, coming up. We will be unpacking so many conversations. In between that, we'll be having some speaker sessions. And during lunchtime, feel free to go back to the exhibition booth just in case you didn't get there at this time. Do well to visit the booth and get to know more of our partners. But for now, we will have some speakers before our panel discussion. And so if we could resume our seats humbly. Would like to commend all our partners who have come on board in making sure that this year's conference is a success. Thank you all for your partnership. We do appreciate it. And so before we move to our panel discussion, we will take some brief remarks. We'll take a remark from the Acting Executive Secretary of the American Chamber of Commerce, in the person of Jane Arce Conference, who will give us some brief remarks. And when she is done, we'll have our good friend Daniel Kweku-Meki, who is a country manager for Zipline. And so it will be back to back. And so once Jane is done, Daniel will also follow up in that order. After that, we'll be unpacking in our panel conversation. So please, let's make welcome Madame Jane Arce Conference, who is the Acting Executive Secretary of the American Chamber of Commerce. Please, let's welcome her.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister, Members of Parliament, distinguished guests, innovation leaders, and friends here at ARC 2025. Allow me to express my deepest appreciation to the ARC 2025 Organizing Committee for the kind invitation to be part of this very timely and future-focused conversation. It is both an honor and a great responsibility to speak today, not only as Acting Executive Secretary of American Chamber of Commerce, but as someone deeply passionate about the role of business, technology, and partnerships in unlocking Africa's sustainable growth. Real estate today touches everything, from urbanization to affordable housing, from commercial hubs to special economic zones, and technology, particularly PropTech, now sit at the center of how we plan, finance, build, manage, and sustain these assets. For Ghana and Africa more broadly, PropTech offers an unprecedented opportunity to leapfrog system challenges, bridging gaps in infrastructure, land, documentation, transparency, financing, and efficient property management. The work happening in this room matters because real estate is no longer just about physical structures. It's about how we build inclusive, smart, resilient cities that can serve our growing populations, support business growth, and position us as global competitive economies. As American Chamber of Commerce, we see this intersection as a unique sweet spot of U.S.-Ghana business partnerships. The U.S. remains one of Ghana's largest trade and investment partnerships, and there is significant interest from American investors, technology, companies, and infrastructure finances to co-create solutions that serve African market. American Chamber of Commerce, what we do at AmCham is ensuring that business relations between Ghana and America thrives. We are the representative arm. We are affiliated to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which is the world's largest and oldest business association, with nearly 3 million companies and 130 American Chamber of Commerce, of which we are one. So we have American Chamber of Commerce in Senegal, in Mali, in Angola, in Nigeria, and of course, here in Ghana. At AmCham, we promote the commercial, economic, cultural, and economic commercial ties between U.S. and Ghana. So this is what we do. Commercially, we promote it, economic, cultural, and educational ties. So we receive a number of universities from the U.S. coming to Ghana to learn the culture of these multinational companies that we have, and then to also learn the culture here in Ghana, as well as organizing trade missions and what have you. We are the first point of contact at AmCham when it comes to right here. Whether it is a smart city design, mortgage innovation, sustainable building materials, or blockchain-powered and registries, the opportunities for partnership are both broad and deep. At AmCham Ghana, we continue to advocate for policies that foster ease of doing business, market intelligence to its members, networking, encouraging technology transfer, protect intellectual property, and de-risk cross-border investment, because we believe Ghana can be a beacon of responsible and inclusive growth. We convene stakeholders through roundtables, policy forums, and trade missions. Our recent collaboration with the U.S. African Business Center and the Ministry of Communication highlight how American tech firms can support Ghana's digital economic ambitions. We recently hosted a high-profile roundtable at the Google AI Research Center in Accra, focusing on AI and digital economy, with participation from the U.S. Embassy and Ghanaian institutions. I want to remind us of something very important. Real estate is about people. Behind every building is a business seeking space, a family seeking stability, a community seeking dignity, and a country seeking progress. When we get it right, real estate becomes a platform for upward mobility, job creation, and generational wealth. International Association, GREPA, as a gold member of AmCham Ghana, a recognition of their leadership in professionalizing and digitizing real estate in Ghana. So GREPA in Washington, D.C., in conjunction with 2022 National Association of Realtors media event. This joint participation helped showcase Ghana's market to U.S. investors and facilitated strategic linkages between GREPA's members and global estate networks. As I close, let me once again thank the EGG team for curating this important. At AmCham Ghana, we continue to strengthen our role as a premium platform for fostering U.S.-Ghana trade relations, soliciting for policies that support American businesses, and promoting a partnership, economic and sustainable partnership. Thank you all, and I look forward to this rich conversation ahead. Thank you.
Ghanaian, initially government, we started with the Ministry of Health, but other expand the use cases that are suitable for aerial logistics across the country. And once that happens at scale, it will open up opportunities for individual Ghanaian entrepreneurs to create use cases on top of our infrastructure. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we don't even understand some of the context deeply enough to build certain use cases. Some of these use cases, we cannot see them as at now, but they can use imaginable as at today. To highlight that in practice, what that means, for instance, in Ghana, there was a study in the Ashanti region that reduced maternal mortality by 56.1%. And the reason why, that compares with collaboration, integration, and I guess that's also a call out to the room, because as I said, some of the use cases here, I cannot them. Maybe there are great use cases in real estate or with a real estate company or somebody else within. Feel free to reach out. Let's collaborate. Let's solve the problems that we face on the ground. And I think the last thing that I have to say in terms of course, the conference, a big shout out to the organizers. And I think it's really key that we come together, collaborate, not just in the examples that I brought, but across board, and find solution to the problems that we all know exist, but then come together and solve them. So, and yes, and one last thing. Our closest distribution center, let's say a good 2-hour drive. So I would also extend the invitation to anybody that is interested to visit us to come and see our technology, our collaboration, the result of what we did in action at our distribution center in Omenako. And we'll share further details of possibilities. I mean, you can always reach out to us, but in terms of the organizers, what is possible, we'll share more details. You can see how we fly the commodities. You can see the drones. You can see a very interesting takeoff, but also a very interesting recovery process. And as I said, usually people are very impressed when they see it and realize really what has been done in terms of collaboration. So I would warmly extend, and also would like to thank also Jane and Amcham for giving us this opportunity in terms of
warm partner, move straight
who want to help drive and shape technology in Ghana and Africa. And this panel, we're powering this panel by bringing some of our members, bright minds in the tech space, to discuss something that we consider very important. And so I'd like to quickly call on our members to jump on here so we can get right into it. First and foremost, I'd like to invite Dr. Nanaya Atina Owusu Prempe. Please, a round of applause for her. Next, we have Louis Nana Kofi Asante Yabua here. Next, we'd like to invite Dr. Ohene Asante. And then finally, Engineer Leslie Mante Donko. A bit more about yourself, so when we get into it, we'll know what it is, why you're such credible people.
Good morning. Is it afternoon yet? Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
This afternoon.
Yes. Excuse me. I'd like to start by appreciating my Willie sister, the Honorable Gisela Tete, one of the amazing minds on the Terminal 3 that you see at the airport. She was one of the first woman in Ghana to start an internet company in 1990. And during that time, that is when we started the Ghana Internet Exchange. That was during my presidency as GISPA president. That's when the exchange was put together. I have been involved in technology for so long. I can remember the days of the IBM and the Hewlett. Real estate has also been a baby for me. I started real estate in the US in 1994 as a sales agent. And so I know the MLS stories and the connectivity between the...
Louis Asante Yabua. I am the CEO of Velvet Group. Sorry. renewable energy solution, energy engineer, and what we do is we actually help home to actually go solar, and also help with as in thousand with cooperative workers, and we do all sort of agriculture, including cereals, vegetables, anything that you can think of, we do, and we are in almost all the 16 regions in the country. Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Leslie Donko.
Technology is in everything, and it's time that we talked about the solutions that can help us reduce costs. Everybody's going haywire about artificial intelligence, but there's a lot more. And Tech Connect, we're exploring 32 or 33 areas in tech, and we'll talk more about that later. But let me start with Rev. Dr. Nanea, you were instrumental in establishing Ghana's first internet exchange. How can similar bold infrastructure, affordable prop tech, powered renewable energy in African housing estates?
Thank you very much, Papa. I believe that everyone here wishes to have a home where you can sit in the comfort of your office and turn on the lights. The gentleman, Dr. Matthew, when he was speaking, he mentioned the box key entry to your fellow realtor who can just go without your presence to open the door to let your clients in. So now there is remote entry where no human needs to be there physically. You can easily sit in the comfort of your home and just look through the videos and engage a realtor who is standing behind the door. Open the gate for her or him and let them gain access. You know, I think Ghana used to be in the place of spectatorship in the early 2000s, but the exchange was established in October 2005. And is we localize content. You to go to Europe, to go to America before you get your email. But now with the Ghana Internet Exchange, everything is localized. So content became to start a business on your own, to be more involved. Entrepreneurs are no longer sitting in the office and asking the secretary to access information.